here, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make a Halloween costume for Rarity. But before I begin, I want to say that these instructions will not necessarily be the clearest. This is because I only have a pretty vague idea of what I'm going to do before I make a pony dress, so you'll just have to watch to the end and find out how I do it, because I don't know yet. Okay, here's everything I will or might be using. First of all, we've got pins and fine sewing needles. Those are absolutely necessary. I've got some black velvet for the base of the cape I'm going to be making. A pair of fabric cutting scissors, that's not optional, you're going to need those. I've got threads to match the ribbons and fabric I've chosen. I've got black ribbon here. I've got some purple ribbon. I've got some silver ribbon. And I've got some black elastic here. And finally, I've got some sequins in these matching colours. Today, because I don't want to mess up Rarity's pretty hair here, I'm going to be using my second Pinkie Pie as the model for this dress. First of all, I need to sort out my base fabric, which is this beautiful black velvet. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a cape for her, so it's going to seal around the neck here. So what I need to do is find out how much fabric I need with seam allowance. We need to just double it over a little bit there. And just check how it would fit, because I'm going to be gathering it a bit. It needs to be a bit longer than you'd first think. So I think about that width will do, and the length, with a little bit of seam allowance, probably to there. So that's the kind of measurement I want, starting at my thumb there, going up to there, and then the other thumb here. And because it's really difficult to cut this on camera, I'm going to do it off camera. Okay, so now I've cut it into a rectangle shape. What I need to do is, I need to sew the seams around the edges so it doesn't just fray away. So I've got my very fine sewing needle here, and I've got some black thread. I just need to cut off a bit of it. Quite a bit. I like to have quite a lot. That way you don't run out in the middle of a stitch. Got to thread the eye of the needle, which is easier said than done. There we go. And then we've got to sew up these ends. So normally you might pin this, but I've done this so much that I pretty much know what I'm doing with it. So I'll just anchor it on the end here. Just got to go round and round and round without getting caught on anything. Otherwise you'll ruin your hard work. Just one more time now. There we go. Okay, now what I'm going to do is double that over there, and I'm going to make big stitches on the back, so there are little stitches on the front, which we'll be seeing. So I'm going to make quite a big stitch here, push it right through, and without pulling it, because we don't want to gather it just yet, and just go through right next to that stitch there. You can't really see it because it's black, but what we want is big stitches on the back, little stitches on the front. We're going to keep going like this until I reach the end. Okay, so I've finished sewing up the end here, and then all I need to do is sew up this end and then the two ends either side here, and then I'll be ready to put some decoration on it and then gather it. But because this is just going to look very boring, we're going to be sewing all this off screen, and then we'll get to the interesting part of decorating it. Okay, so here is the panel all finished. What I'm going to do is I'm going to decorate this with some ribbon and some sequins, and I'll show you which ones. Right, so my plan is, this is the bottom and this is the top of the cape. I'm going to use some of this really pretty silver ribbon here. And I'm going to have purple ribbon too, and I don't know which way around that I want that, of silver on bottom and purple on top or vice versa, but one way or another. And then I've also got some purple sequins here, and I'm going to scatter those across the cape. Now once again, this is going to be very challenging to show you on camera, but the same rules apply. What we want is little stitches on top and big stitches on the back, so we don't see any stitches on the top. And with the sequins, we want to keep very tight stitches around them, and I might show you that in a minute, because first I'm going to be sewing on these ribbons. The last thing you need to know about the ribbons is we're going to stitch them around the edge there, because we don't want a raw edge hanging off the end. That's not going to look very smart, is it? Now finally, I should also mention that I've got purple thread to match the purple ribbon, and I've got grey thread to match the silver ribbon. Right, I've pinned on and cut the silver ribbon here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew along the top, and then I'm going to have to sew along the bottom as well. Okay, I've fully sewn on the silver ribbon now, and all I need to do is sew on the purple ribbon, and I think it's thin enough that I can get away with just having one line of stitches instead of two, holding this one down either side. Alright, that is the ribbon sewed on, so now all I need to do is, before gathering it, put the sequins on. So let's just take a look at them and choose what I want and where. Oh no, it's everywhere. Okay, maybe not that many sequins. I've got some little purple flowers here, but I don't think that's going to go with my witch theme, so I might just choose my little round purple ones. And maybe I'll put some moon sequins on it. I'm not sure. I might save those for a different project. I think I'll have more at the bottom, like have trailing off to fewer at the top. That's what I'm going to do. Now, sewing on sequins, I find it very difficult, so once again, unfortunately, I'm going to have to do it off camera, but the basic idea is get a sequin, sew it round either side of the sequin and move on to the next one while getting the big thread underneath it. You don't want to have big purple thread on top. Okay, here is our little cape with sequins and ribbons on it. Now what I need to do is, I need to gather it up, and then I need to sew on some black elastic to go around Rarity's neck, and then the cape will be finished. What I need to do is, I need to go round and round and round the end here to anchor the thread, then I need to have a running stitch going in and out to pull it in with the thread. Let's start with the anchoring. Okay, now we've anchored it, what I need to do is I need to go in and out in even fashion. Not too big and not too small stitches. On this occasion, I want to be the same size either side of the fabric, and I've got a knot. Boo. Okay, so I'm going to try this again. We're going to get even stitches on either side here because we're gathering this time. Doesn't matter if we pull it along the way because this is deliberate. We want it to be pulled in and gathered. Not too big, not too small. If they're too small, the gathers won't work, and if they're too big, they'll be much too big, the gathers. So we've got to be careful. I'll admit I'm not really the best at keeping stitches even, but I'm trying my best. There we go, it's all gathered up now. Now what I need to do is decide how gathered I want it to be, so we're going to have to get our model in here. Pinkie Pie on this occasion, of course. And I think that's probably about right. I'm going to gather it as much as I can, pretty much, maybe a little bit looser, round about there. Then all I need to do is anchor it in place at that much gather, if you know what I mean there. Now I've gathered up the cape, all I need to do is sew the elastic on, so I need to find out how long I need it to be. I want to have a bit to go underneath, so a bit longer than it first seems. I don't want it to be too tight because it has to go over the pony's head. So I think I'm going to cut it about there, maybe that much. Okay, so I'm going to sew it on underneath here, and then I'm going to sew it underneath the other side, and we'll have a complete cape. This is going to be pretty fiddly though, so it's going to have to be done off camera. I'm just going to be making lots and lots of anchor stitches until it stays in place. Okay, so here it is, complete, the cape. Let's see if it works out on Rarity. We're going to get it over this curl, if I can. Oh dear, maybe this is a little bit harder than I first thought it would be. Gotta get it over her big old ears. And tuck it over her nose. I think I've made the elastic too long. Back to the drawing board. Going to have to cut a bit off, make it a bit tighter. And here is Rarity's brand new witch cape completed! Ta-da! And if you would like to know how to make a matching witch hat for her, I've got a link to a tutorial in the corner right there. So let me know in the comments what you think to Rarity's new dress. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe for lots of fun new videos every week. Thanks for watching!